Hello and welcome back to the podcast. Today we're talking about 4 reasons we self-sabotage.
Okay. Welcome to the Shift Happens podcast, where we talk about navigating the lighter side of life's challenges.
I'm Robin McIntire, a certified life and transitions coach.
And I'm Monique Eckes, a question asker, asking the questions that you, the audience, are thinking. Well, I'm thinking you're thinking.
We do a lot of mind reading.
Yes. As a client of Robin's for a long time, she's used to hearing all of my questions.
They're great questions, and I will say this, that when you start asking yourself questions, your life gets richer.
Okay. Ooh, that's a bonus for y'all.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a one-liner
Okay.
right out of the
in
gate.
there somewhere. Okay, so we're going to go back to our topic, 4 reasons we self-sabotage. And this is kind of, we've been hinting at this topic, right?
Yeah, we have it weaved all through so many episodes. It's our human nature. So what we're doing is we are inviting you to be more aware of what you're thinking. So your thoughts. Think about what you're thinking about. That's really what this is in a nutshell that we're talking about today. 4 human blocks, not the only ones probably, but 4 human blocks that keep us from our goals. It keeps us in self-sabotage and therefore spinning a lot of times in our why do I do this when I say I don't want to do this?
Oh, yeah. Right? I'm trying to remember the different episodes where you're like, oh, it's just one of the blocks. So I'm excited to go into and name every one of those and give examples. And we're going to ask you questions too, where you see this in your life. And I love that. One of the things that we talk about a lot is notice what you notice. And so noticing our own thoughts, we're the person we listen to the most.
It's true. And when you get really good at that, you start noticing what other people are saying.
Right, which is what you're really good at.
Which is
because that's your whole job.
That is my job.
Okay, so when we're not aware, you said this is where we spin our wheels, we have confusion, right?
Yeah, when we're not aware, we basically stay stuck.
Yeah.
We stay stuck. We believe our own stories and our own limitations that we say. I mean, in stories, I mean that respectfully, because we make up stories.
We do.
And then our brain believes them, and then our brain goes and looks for all the evidence, and we find it. It finds it every time. So right along with self-fulfilling prophecy, we believe it. And it's kind of like when you're saying, don't hit the pole, don't hit the pole, don't hit the pole, and your car smashes into the pole. Right. It's really the same thing.
Right, okay.
So that's why the awareness can lead us to better everything.
Okay.
Because then we have choice. If we're not aware that something needs to change or we're doing something that's working against us, then how do we change it?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so are you ready to dive into the 4?
I'm ready to dive into the 4. Well, I want to preface, this comes from Eckes, which is my coaching training. I just want to be clear because you'll hear these, we've all heard versions of these anyway, but the fact that I picked these 4, it does come right from my training.
Right from your training,
yeah.
Yes.
Giving Eckes the credit for the actual names of these blocks.
The names of the blocks. This is some of the fundamental things that Robin works with me and all of your clients on. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, number 1. These are called gales. Eckes calls them gales, and the G stands for gremlin.
Gremlin.
Okay, gremlin is our inner critic. We're all really familiar, right?
Yep.
I'm not good enough. All of the not good enoughs.
Yes.
All of those are coming from our inner critic, right?
Right. Kind of back here, I'm not doing it right. Yeah.
I'm not doing it right is huge, because that's basically what we end up saying is if we talked about it earlier. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not ready enough because I'm not smart enough. And I mean, it goes on and on. I'm not ready to coach yet because I don't have enough paper behind my name. All the things.
Oh yeah, I don't make enough money to be able to tell somebody else how to do this.
Yes.
You don't have all my stuff together. Oh yeah, that inner critic.
It's busy. Busy.
Yes. And you said a lot of this is fear.
Oh, it is. Gremlin, inner critic is total fear. And that's the part of our brain too that keeps us wants to keep us comfortable, right? So as
Okay.
long as it keeps us in fear
Yeah.
and keeps us, I'm going to just say chickening out, but just because I'm saying fear versus chickening out.
Okay.
But it does. It keeps us, it wants to keep us comfortable. Our brain wants to keep us comfortable. So as long as we're in fear, we're going to be a lot more conservative with what we're going after, right?
True.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, kind of keeps us small.
Yeah. That's a great way to put
Yeah.
it. Playing small.
Playing small.
Yes. When you find
Okay.
yourself playing small and you're beating yourself up for it, check in with your inner critic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And look for the fear. And it might, again, we've said this before, it doesn't always have to be the saber-toothed tiger
Yeah.
chasing us. It can be fear of other people's opinions. We've talked about that on the FOPO episode. It can be fear of, success because then, oh no, what if that turns into failure later?
Yeah, yeah.
Fear of losing the weight and gaining it back. I mean, there's just...
Oh.
Again, these are
Gotcha.
so interwoven in all of our episodes. When you're in self-doubt or you're in that cycle where you're just really doubting all your capabilities or whether you can do the thing or not, what do you hear? So I really encourage you to watch for those words.
We want you to be thinking about this as we go through
Yes.
this episode. Okay. So then, number 2.
Okay, number 2 is the A, and it stands for assumptions. We all know this one.
Okay.
And we are assuming, because that's how it's always been. We're doing air quotes here if you're only listening and not watching.
Right.
It's always been this way, so it's going to always be that way. I've always gained the weight back, so I don't know why I'm going to even try, because it'll just come back just like it always has.
So your past dictating your present and future.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. It's
Okay.
actually like the past is taking your power away from right now.
Oh.
Like we're giving our power to the past.
Wow.
Right?
Right. Okay. I like that. Like, too discouraged to start is one of the
Absolutely.
the
Yep.
keys to know if this is one of them.
Yeah. There's no open door there.
Yeah.
It's just, you're saying
Yeah.
it's just the facts. It's always been like this. It's always going to be like this. And here's another thing that's interesting. We show up to relationships this way too, where we think, oh, they're always this way. So we are already assuming that this person is going to show up the way we think they always are because they've
Wow.
always been, in our opinion.
Oh my gosh.
Right.
I have done that.
Me too.
I have done that, and I've tried to catch myself like, oh, that is not even fair
Right.
to this person I'm in a relationship with. Just because this person did, this person's not.
Yeah.
It's kind of not fair.
It's not. It's not fair. Because it isn't the same, especially
not.
because every new moment is a new moment.
Yeah, and do you think it takes away hope a little bit too?
Oh, I
since this was
absolutely
always
do.
this way, I can't change, I can't be this
Yeah.
way, and your hope is gone.
Yeah, again, there's nowhere to go with it, so there's no possibilities.
Yeah.
If we accept that. I mean, if we really want to believe
Sure.
that and accept that, then yeah, it's
Oh.
a closed door too.
Okay. So then we're going to ask, consider this assumptions.
Yeah, where are yours
Where are
coming
yours? Right. Okay.
in? Okay, so I have a quick story about one of my assumptions. Writing has always been challenging for me. And back in school, I liked English when it was called English. But writing as an adult, I've really struggled with, it takes me so long to get my point across, or I go back, and part of this might be the perfection thing of trying to read, I'm editing as I go instead of just put it down and then go back and edit.
Yeah.
So I have this thing about writing and how my brain works, and I know that is why I have not written that book yet. One of the reasons.
Oh. Because you're stuck with, this is how I've been a writer.
It's
and so
going
that's
to
how I'm
take me,
always gonna be.
It's going to take me forever. It will be head against the wall, bang, bang, bang.
Oh.
Trying to write this book.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and part of it is I'm still deciding, wow, I have so much to say.
The content. Sure.
Yeah, the content.
Yeah.
Like, let's rein it in. Like, that's a
But-
problem, right?
I could totally see, though, where that has become like this painful thing that you're trying to look forward to.
Yes.
You
Yeah, because
know?
it would be so exciting to finally do that.
To finally do it, but if you feel like you're banging your head against a wall,
Oh, yeah.
ouch.
So, like, why would I start?
Yeah.
Right? So,
Oh, gosh.
stay tuned. Maybe this time next year I'll say I have my book. We'll see.
Ooh, put
We'll
it
see.
out in
But
the
those
world.
assumptions will
Yep.
get you.
Okay, so number 3.
Number 3 is the I. Forget, if we're talking Gales.
Oh, right.
I is interpretations. So interpretations it's just the way we see things. We have that. This is our stories. where we make up
Okay,
stories.
okay.
And one of my favorite ones, I've mentioned it before in the podcast, but it just comes to me, and it's one of my favorite things. So what was it, a year ago maybe at the
Probably,
most?
yeah.
That I was doing an online webinar, and Monique was, well, it was more like a master class because we were in a Zoom room
Right.
where I could see the participants. And I'm watching Monique, and I'm thinking, oh, she doesn't like this. She's bored or something. She's really distracted. Oh, I must be awful.
Yeah.
This must be terrible. I was just like trying not to fall apart, thinking this 1 out of 8 people or whatever, 10 people, however many were there, and I know Monique, and I'm like, Monique's, I just, this is not good. And then later in the evening, I get a text from Monique saying, before I chicken out, I'm just texting you to say I want to work with you. I think I want to work with you.
Yeah.
But it was such a, it was humorous in a way, because I said, see, Robin, there you go. There's your story of, I suck.
Oh.
My webinar is not good. And then I even asked you about it. Remember, I said, well, Monique, I'm so excited, because here's what my story was of what I thought was going on. And you were like, no, I just had some things going on, and I was trying to get back to somebody that I had to answer a question for somebody in my business. And it was so funny, because I was so sure of my story, and I was so wrong.
Oh
I
my
was
gosh.
really off base.
And I knew, like, I wasn't showing up to that like I wanted to. I really had something else I needed to be working on, but I wanted to be there for your webinar, which ended up being just so pivotal for me. So I'm really glad I went. I'm super glad I went. But yeah, I knew you'd feel like, wow, Monique was checked out.
But it wasn't about you, though. It was about how I read that. That, I made it all about me and not good enough. And I was assuming, making assumptions, and I was way off base. So.
Yeah, it was we're on interpretations, right? So these can kind of
mix
a little.
Sorry, yes.
But interpretations, we wanted to say that anyway.
Yes.
That some of these can be in several categories.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because sometimes it is hard to say, is that an interpretation, or is that is that my gremlin? Is that not good enough, or is that limiting belief? So.
But I could totally see how this is interpretation, though.
Yes.
Because this was the
interpretation of what
circumstances.
happened.
This is the interpretation of it, right?
That wasn't a past present. That was I was interpreting things, what I was seeing wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So where are yours, right? We want to ask you, the listener.
Yeah. Where do you have interpretations? Try to think of one that you've gotten wrong in the past, where you might have been really worked up about something, beating yourself up about something, and you found out how I guess wrong. This is one time that being wrong is great.
True.
How wrong were you?
Yeah.
And what did it do for you when you realized you were off base and your story was inaccurate?
So we want to know that, and you want to know that. I'm assuming if you're listening to this awesome podcast. Okay, so number 4.
4 is the L, and it's limiting beliefs.
Okay.
And you even said earlier, this one gets a lot of press. We've all heard limiting, especially if you're doing personal development, you know all about what these limiting beliefs can do when we're trying to hit a goal, and we just have this thing going on. Limiting beliefs can be beliefs that have been with you for years, and if you stop to look at them, you might go, I don't even know how long I've been believing that, or where it came from. And it could be upbringing. It could be, this is a silly one, but like even in the media over the years, where nutrition and fitness gets so confusing, because they'll say, eggs are terrible, and we all believe that.
Oh my gosh.
So we're carrying this limited belief about eggs. We're missing out on all this good protein for all those years because we think it's bad for us.
Right.
So limiting belief, as silly as that would be, could be about eggs and cholesterol and why it's wrong.
Okay.
Later we find out, no, there's new studies, and it's great protein. But they can be worldviews, they can be, and the example I give for this is, once you hit 60, your body just goes downhill.
And that is really such a given.
Yeah.
You
right?
know,
And
like for so many people. So I would think that it's a limiting belief on an individual level and like as a collective.
Yes.
Right?
It's a great point, because it is.
That might even be harder to identify then.
Yeah.
If everyone around says, yeah, that's right, 60 is it, we're done.
And it throws fuel in the fire, and it gives us permission to quit or not start or give up, especially if we don't want to have excuses.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
If there's a goal we really don't want to dive into, those limiting beliefs are awesome.
But I can see how, like, if you always thought, okay, after 60, I'm going downhill. You hit 60 and you're like, I feel great. What the heck?
Yeah, that would be a
Wait a
great
minute.
surprise. That would be a great
Right?
surprise if you don't buy in all the way, because I don't think
Yeah.
you'd feel great if you really
But
bought
you know what
into
I mean?
that.
Like,
Yes, no,
I feel like I have room for improvement,
Yeah.
maybe is a better way to say it.
That's great.
Like,
Yes.
oh, I could still hike or work out or do this or do that or learn something new, right?
we're never too old.
Gosh, no.
Yeah.
No.
And now what the new I don't know, 80's the new 60 or whatever.
Right.
The 60's the new 30.
Right.
You know, so it's changing.
That's true.
Unless you've believed in the old school thing, which is, once after you have babies, your body's, you can't get your body back. You know, there's so much of
Right.
that. Those are great examples of limiting beliefs.
My example is when I first started my photography YouTube channel. And before I started, I thought, oh my gosh, who's going to want to listen to, at that point, you know, late 40s woman, right? YouTube's all just for 35-year-old skater boys. And that was just a limiting belief. Like, the only people that can make it are that demographic. Like, no.
Yeah.
So that was so limiting until I questioned it, you know, like we're talking about a lot in here. So that's one of my real world
And
examples.
that's so good. I mean, if you think about YouTube and Instagram, it would be so easy, especially me at my age, to go, oh, this is for the 35-year-old beauties out there. This is not for someone that's over the hill.
Right?
Right?
Ooh, over the hill even
Over the hill.
is a limiting belief.
Yeah, it's
Ooh,
really
just
a
that
limiting belief.
phrase.
Yeah.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm nixing that from my vocabulary.
So what are some limiting beliefs
Yeah.
that you've carried around, and are you willing as the listener, are you willing to really stop and like make a quick list of what have you been carrying around and where did it come from? Think about, you know, a lot of times we adore our parents, and so whatever they said, we want to believe because we, you know, they were our hero or whatever.
Right.
So it's really interesting to start really looking at that, not making people wrong.
Right.
That's really important because we're not trying to dig up yucky emotions. We're just trying to look at it objectively and get curious.
Yeah. Curious.
Yeah, and how's it holding you back?
I think so. Yeah, question things, especially when they start to feel kind of not right. That's what I found for me. You know, is this true? Is this true? Is it a fact? Or is it just something that's it kind of reminds me, I don't know if I'm going to get this story right, but there is this kind of a fable almost at this point about cooking turkey for Thanksgiving. Have you heard of this?
I don't know.
Where it got passed down in the generations. Like when you cook a turkey, I can't remember what it was. I'm just going to say cut it in half. You cut the turkey in half, and that's why you cook it. And finally, someone questioned, like, why do you even do that? And we're like, we don't know. And then they finally asked their great grandma why. It was because her oven was too small.
Oh,
Her oven was just always too small, so that's how she did it. And then everybody started thinking, well, that's how you have to cook a turkey.
that's
that
a
was
great
the truth,
example.
a fact.
so we've had a lot of these, like we talked about, interwoven in other episodes. What are some of the ones we've talked about?
Well, FOPO.
Yes, fear of other people's opinions.
Yep. Oh, gosh.
Huge.
There's a lot of this going on.
That's in season 1 if you want to check it out.
We're just chugging along with this podcast. I love it. One of our newer ones, How to Win an Argument.
How to Win an Argument. We
gosh.
joke about the bait and switch title, but you'll just have to see.
Go back and
Because
watch.
you know us, we're not going to say go win an argument. But it's a lot about what we're talking about.
Yes, teaser there.
The other one that came to mind for me is you can't bully your way to your goals. And this all deals with inner critic and mostly inner critic, but it's an important one. If you find yourself and this language is really familiar and you feel held back by these 4 blocks, there's a lot of good episodes that you could
For sure.
go challenge yourself and watch those.
All right, we have a couple more things to tell people, but we need to do the sponsor break. What do we got?
Spark Session Plus. It's ideal for this, okay?
I was hoping you'd say that.
I love my Spark Session Plus. So here's what's cool about this. One of the first things I do when I visit with potential clients, and you know this, even though Monique and I already knew each other, Spark Session Plus is a 90-minute session where, again, questions, answers, and we're going to get your story. We're going to find out what's not working for you. We're going to turn you loose for 2 weeks on things we decide together that's going to help you. And then 2 weeks later, we get together for 30 minutes, and we're going to see what's working, what's not, and what we need to tweak to help you go even further.
Love it. Yes. Okay. That's a great way to meet with you and kind of dip your toe.
Yeah, find out what it's like to be supported. Find out it's not scary.
Yes.
That's my favorite thing.
Yeah. This whole podcast is exactly what Robin does, making heavy things lighter, right?
Thank you. I hope so. That's that's just like when Monique called you. You're a little nervous when you call because you're busting a move on your life, right? You're trying to make your life better somehow, and it's scary.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It helps to have a guide.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. So famous one-liner.
Famous one-liner. You ready?
Yes.
Make a game out of watching your brain.
Yay, it rhymes.
I just love it because seriously, our brain is doing all this stuff. It's all in charge of the gales, and it's in charge of all of it. And again, it's just trying to keep us comfortable. Our job, if we want to really thrive and evolve, is to get uncomfortable because that's where growth is. Yeah?
Yeah.
That's where my best times have been. Anytime I've been scared and I move forward anyway, always rewarding. Always rewarding.
That's such a good point. Yeah. So, make a game out of watching your brain. That'll be in your head now.
Yeah, and you actually can sit back and watch your thoughts out here.
Wow.
And so that leads us into an action, right?
Okay, yes, our action step.
Journal this stuff. Be brave. Sit down with paper, no rules. Just say, hey, what am I thinking? What thoughts come up for me when I stop myself from having what I want or believing in myself or, even setting goals in the first place?
Oh, okay, yeah.
I mean, if you really want to get down to it. But I think these people watching, I think if you're here with us, you're probably goal setting.
Probably.
I have a feeling you go after life with some gusto.
And I think that, throughout this episode, we've been asking you for each block to think about something. So probably need to go back through and watch or listen to this again and have that spark again of what you can write in your journal for each one of these. There was gremlins. Assumptions. Interpretations. Okay. And limiting beliefs. So think of those 4 things and just jot, like you were saying, free flow.
Yeah. Free flow and then question it.
Yes. Yeah. So many people are journalers, and if you need a journal prompt, this is perfect.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And again, when you write something down, you take it out of here onto the paper, and it's easier to disassociate. So instead, it's not you, it's your thoughts.
I think that immediately makes it lighter.
It does.
I think just either saying it to you, writing it down, it's going to be huge.
That's not as hard as I thought.
Right.
It's not as scary as I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not just me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just noticing and identifying it, and we're so glad to have you all here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just share all this. I get worked up every time we have these episode filming because I'm like, we could do this and we could do this, and it's so hopeful.
It is. It's fun, and again, what's the alternative?
Oh.
What's the alternative? Closed doors.
Yep.
No fun. Beating yourself up. Staying in a cycle of,
Oh.
it can get down. It can get you down. So we're just saying, hey, look up to be up. Let's go.
All right. Oh, another one-liner.
Look up to
we're
be
getting
up.
a bonus today. Okay.
This episode's loaded.
It really is. Thank you so much. And thank you for listeling and watching wherever you're at. Remember, shift happens.
Shift happens. And we want shifts to happen.
Ooh.
The ones that feel better. Good shifts. Right. Yeah. And we would also love if you get value here and someone comes to mind when we're talking about any of these topics, please share the episode, at least the episode. If not, just the whole, encourage them to subscribe.
Yeah.
Subscribe,
yes, please.
We appreciate you. And we want to help whenever we can by using our own examples and just being here to lighten it up for you.
And remember, all of this can be found in the show notes, either in YouTube if you're watching from YouTube land. Hey.
Hello.
Audio, especially in your car, just so you know when you're stop driving. All of this is in the show notes of the audio version. But the best place to find everything is...
It's my website, robinmcintire.com, spelled with all I's, ROBINMCINTIRE.
All right.
It's a wrap.
Thanks.
Ciao.